Hello students, today we are going to see the modified version of Young's double slit experiment. So we have learned the Young's double slit experiment and we are going to do some modification in it. So what we have learned so far under YDSE is this, that there is a source, then you have two slits over here, and then we saw that this distance is, if I consider this angle to be theta, then this distance is d sine theta, where d is the distance between the two slits and this is your capital D, and we say that d sine theta is approximately equal to d tan theta under the approximation which I have discussed. And if this point is maxima, you write this as n lambda, or if that point is minima, you write that as 2n minus 1 lambda by 2. Correct? And then you can write tan theta as perpendicular by base. So you can write tan theta as perpendicular by base in both the equations, and that will give you the required result. That is what we called as YDSE, Young's double slit experiment. Now, what happens in modified Young's double slit experiment? In modified Young's double slit experiment, we insert a slab, a glass slab in the path of one of the ray. Okay, so how do we do that? So consider, so I am talking about MYDSE. The M stands here is modified Young's double slit experiment. Okay, so what do we do here? This is my screen, this is the distance d, this is small d, and let us say that this is the center point of the screen. So one ray goes here, let us consider that as ray 1, one ray goes here, let us consider that as ray 2, and this is the reference line. All this makes an angle of theta. Okay, and let us say we introduce a slab here, and this slab has a thickness of T and has a refractive index of mu. Okay, it has a thickness of T and refractive index of mu. So when you introduce this glass slab, what is going to happen? Okay, so for that, let us try to understand the concept of glass slab separately over here, and then we will come back and we will try to write the equation over here, how to write the equation of path difference over there. So what we are going to discuss now is the concept of optical path. And now listen this very carefully. Consider that this is one ray and this is second ray, and both are traveling parallel. So both are traveling same distance in the same time period, in the same time. Now what is happening now? Suppose I introduce a glass slab over here. I introduce a glass slab over here of refractive index mu and thickness T. Okay. Now you know that when the ray enters the glass slab, its velocity will change. Now in air, if the velocity of light is c, then both of them are having the same velocity of light. But the moment this ray enters into the glass slab, its velocity will become c divided by mu. This you know from class 10, that its velocity will become c divided by mu. Correct? Where mu is the refractive index. So if its velocity has become less, definitely it will take some, if the velocity has become less, then by the time this ray travels from here to here, this ray will travel a larger distance, because this is still traveling with a velocity of c. So let us first try to find how much time it will take to come out of the slab. Okay, so to come out of the slab, the ray 1 is going to take a time. So let us say I want to find a time, so I am writing the time as capital T. So capital T will be equal to distance by speed. Distance is T, that is the thickness, divided by speed. Speed is mu, and that is equal to mu times of T divided by c. This is the time this ray will take to reach from here to here. That means time taken to cross the slab. So by the time this ray has reached over here, this ray will travel a larger distance. Why it will travel a larger distance? Because this is still traveling at the velocity of c. So how much distance this will travel? This will travel a distance of let us say x, a distance of c multiplied by this time. And how much is that time? That time is equal to c multiplied by mu times of t divided by c. So c gets cancelled out. So you will get this distance as mu times of t. So from here to here, this travels a distance of mu times of t. So what has happened here? By the time this travels a distance of t in a medium, this ray in air has traveled a distance of mu t. Okay? This mu t is called optical path. This mu t is called optical path. Now I am going to discuss this very clearly. This is called optical path in air of ray 1. This is ray 1, this is ray 2. Yes, optical path in air of ray 1. What does it mean? It means if one would not have encountered the slab, the one would have traveled a distance of mu t in air. If one would not have encountered the slab, then it would have traveled a distance of mu t in air. So we call this as optical path in air of ray 1. Okay? Coming back here, what has happened? So by the time ray 1 is about to come out, ray 2 is over here. So let us say now I am putting a screen over here. Let us say this is my screen now. So once the ray 2 reaches over here, ray 1 also has reached here. Correct? Who has traveled more path? Think logically and tell me who has traveled more path. Remember, by the time the ray 2 has reached here, ray 1 has just reached here. Okay? That means when the ray 1 has crossed the slab, just about to leave the slab, by that time C2 is already ahead of this. That means this is the extra path ray 1 has to travel. And how much is that extra path? That extra path is given by mu t minus t. Remember, we started the entire thing from here. So by the time this has reached from here to here, this has reached from here to here. So this path is equal to this minus this. That is equal to delta x. So this is the extra path. This is the amount of path which ray 1 has to travel additionally to reach the screen. Okay? So the idea here is whoever has the slab in its path has to travel an additional path of mu t minus t to reach the screen. Okay? I repeat this once again, and I know it will be difficult for you to understand, so I am going to repeat this once again. Remember that this fellow is traveling slowly in a medium, so that gives this fellow to go ahead of ray 1. In order to reach the screen, this fellow has to now travel optically more distance by this much time. If this slab would not have been here, both would have reached simultaneously to the screen. But because of there is a time difference, so when this has reached the screen, this has not yet reached the screen. So that means it is still on its way to reach the screen. So after traveling this much of additional distance, it will be able to reach the screen. And then it will create some interference pattern and all that we will see later on. Okay. So remember, whenever you have a glass slab, this is what is takeaway for you. Whenever you have a glass slab, that fellow has to travel an additional distance of mu t minus t, which can be also written as mu minus 1, and common factor is t. So this is the path, additional path the ray will travel on whose path I have introduced the slab. Okay. So this formula is of prime importance. Okay. Now what is happening here? Now let us come back to this example. You introduce the path in the ray of 1 and ray of 2 is without any slab. Now just imagine the slab is not there. Who is traveling without the slab additional path? So if I draw a dotted line over here, we have seen that this distance is equal to d sine theta. We have seen that, correct? That means ray 2 is traveling an additional distance of d sine theta. So without the slab. So just let us write here without slab, ray 2 is traveling an extra path of d sine theta. Correct? Now with the slab, if you introduce the slab, when the slab is inserted, with the slab, ray 1 is traveling additional path of mu minus 1 multiplied by t. Correct? So what is the overall path difference now? So the overall path difference is equal to d sine theta minus mu minus 1 multiplied by t. This is the overall path difference. Correct? It's just like this. Without the slab, if ray 2 is traveling an additional path of let us say 2 meter, then and with the slab, the ray 1 is traveling an additional path of how much I said I forgot. Okay, I will do it again. Let us say that without the ray 2 is traveling an additional path of let us say 4 meter, okay, and ray 1 with the slab is traveling an additional path of 3 meter. So what is the overall path difference? The overall path difference is 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. That is the overall path difference. If you are not able to understand this, wait for the next example, okay, and then it will be crystal clear to you. But right now let me just complete this entire thing. So this d sine theta minus mu minus 1 into t is the overall path difference, and if I wish to have this point P as a maxima, then I will write, I will equate this with n lambda for maxima, and I will write d sine theta minus mu minus 1 into t is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 for minima. So this is how we write the equation for modified Young's double slit experiment, and I will continue from here. I suggest you pause the video and take a note of this part. Leave this part right now. Just take a note of this part called optical path. Okay, just take a note of that. Don't take a note of this. Just take a note of this. Okay, if you are done, now let me allow you to rub this part. And now let us try to understand this equation. Let us try to understand this equation. Remember the approximations. We call this as y. We call this as y, this as d, and this is small d. Under the approximation, when I say that the distance between the slit is of the order of millimeter and micrometer, and the distance capital D is of the order of meter, what I meant there was d is very, very small than capital D. So whenever this always happens in YDSC. This always happens in YDSC. This allows us to take this, and this, all three angles as theta. So we are allowed to use this three angle as theta under this approximation. Keep that in mind. Then I said another approximation which I said that what if your y is very near to the central point? That means very near to the central point. That means this theta is less than 10 degrees. So what if your y is very less? Is very, very less. Under that approximation, we assume sine theta as equal to tan theta. Correct? Here, if I have to apply that approximation, I will write the equations like this. For y very, very less, I can write this as d tan theta minus mu minus 1 into t equals to n lambda for maxima, and d tan theta minus mu minus 1 into t is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2, that is for minima. And what is tan theta I can write? I can write from the geometry of this graph, tan theta will be the geometry for this diagram, I can write tan theta as perpendicular by base. So I can write this as perpendicular by base. So this equation will now turn out as dy by capital D minus mu minus 1 into t equals to n lambda, that is for maxima, and this one will become dy by capital D minus mu minus 1 into t equals to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 for minima. Alright. Now, what are the questions which they ask? And this is extremely important that you understand this. The important part over here is this. In YDSE, Young's double slit experiment, who was there at the center? At the center, if you remember the concept of YDSE, in YDSE we got this formula. In YDSE we got this formula. Remember n lambda d by small d? This is the formula which we got for YDSE, for maximus. So when I put the value of y equal to 0, that means at the center, now y can be 0 only when your n is equal to 0. So in YDSE, center of the screen was always, listen this very carefully, in YDSE, not MYDSE, in YDSE, center of the screen was always occupied by the zero order maxima. Correct? We call that as central maxima. So zero order maxima was the central maxima. Repeat again, zero order maxima was the central maxima in YDSE. Now what has happened in modified Young's double slit experiment? Let us say I want to know where is the zero. There are two questions which they ask very frequently in modified Young's double slit experiment, and both comes with two conditions over here. Okay. The first question which they ask is this: where is the zero order maxima? Where is the zero order maxima? Where is zero order maxima? Where? So what will I do? In this equation which says dy by capital D minus mu minus 1 into t equals to n lambda. What I am going to put? I am going to put the value of n as equal to 0. I am going to put the value of n as 0. Okay? Because I am looking for zero order maxima. So I will put n as 0 and then I will find the value of y. So dy by capital D minus mu minus 1 into t should be equal to 0, and from that equation you can find the value of y. And so y will be equal to, from this equation, mu minus 1 into t multiplied by d divided by divided by small d. So this is where I will find my zero order maxima. So remember the rule. The rule says whenever you have to find where is the zero order maxima, remember zero order maxima is when the net part difference becomes equals to 0. That means you have to put the value of n as 0 and then you can find the value of y. This y will give you a position of zero order maxima. And you can see here this value of y is not 0. This value of y is not 0. That means zero order maxima is not at the center of the screen. Zero order maxima has gone somewhere up. It has gone somewhere up. Okay, and I will come to that point. Somewhere up, what does it mean? So this is how you find the zero order maxima. Second thing they ask is, who is at the center? Who is at the center? That means which order fringe is at the center? Correct? So at the center, what is the value of y? At the center, the value of y is 0. So what will I do? I will write here as the general formula. General formula is dy by capital D minus mu minus 1 multiplied by t equals to n lambda, and then I am going to put the value of y equals to 0, and so what will I get? This implies when I put the value of y as 0, I will get n equals to minus of mu minus 1 into t divided by lambda. What does it mean? This means that some negative order bright fringe, minus means negative order, minus means negative order. So some negative order bright fringe has occupied the center of the screen. Now there is a catch over here. What is the catch over here? The catch is this: if you get the value of mu minus 1 into t by lambda as an integer, then only you can say that some negative order bright fringe has occupied the center point of the screen. Okay. But what if this term is not integer? That means there is some dark fringe occupying. So in that case you have to go to this formula now. This formula. And in this formula you are going to put the value of y as 0, and then you will find the value of n. So keep these two things clear. What is the thing you have to keep in mind? First objective is to write the equation of part difference. Okay. Once you have written the part difference, then read the question carefully and see what is the question all about. If the question says locate the central maxima, locate the zero order maxima. So if you are looking for zero order maxima, then in your equation of path difference, you will put n equal to 0 and you will locate it where it is. The value of y will give you the position of zero order maxima. And if they ask you who is at the center, or which fringe is occupying, or which fringe is behaving as central maxima, then in that case you will put the y equal to 0, because now you are supposed to find the order of the fringe which is there at the center of the screen. So center of the screen means y is equal to 0, and then you will find the value of n. If for bright, if it is not satisfying, then you have to go to the dark equation, and in dark equation you will put the value of y as 0, and then you will find the value of n. Please take a note of this, and I will explain to you in detail after this. Some more examples and it will be more clear to you. So allow me to rub this part. So this is what I was saying. If n is not integer for bright, then use dark equation or minima equation. So the dark equation is this, that is your dy by capital D minus of mu minus 1 into t equals to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2, and now you put y equal to 0 here. So that is equal to mu minus 1 into t equals to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2, and find n. Definitely you will get integer in this case. Okay. If you are not getting integer in the first case, you will get integer in second case. Okay, because it has to be either a maxima or it has to be a minima. So definitely if this is not working, this will definitely work. Now, there is a small catch over here. Still there is a small catch, because these are very tricky questions. Very, very tricky questions. In the note, when you are noting it down this, when I say y very, very less, it means y should be very, very less than capital D. Okay, just modify this part. Okay, now, what if your y is not very, very less than D? Then what you are supposed to do? So I just take a note of this also. It's a continuation of this one. So I'll just put a star mark over here, and you continue it from here. And please modify this. Y very, very less means y very, very less than D. In that conditions, you can use sin theta as tan theta and tan theta as perpendicular by base. So I'm going to the entire thing now. So what if y is not very less than, very less than D. In that case, you have to stick with the general formula. General formula says d sine theta minus of t into mu minus 1 is equal to n lambda for maxima, and d sine theta minus t into mu minus 1 will be equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by t. Correct? This is for maxima, bright fringe, and this is for minima. So here you can see here, I am not doing the approximation. I am not writing sin theta as tan theta and tan theta is perpendicular by this. I am not doing that at all. So in these kind of questions, if you see the options will be in angles, not in meters, because earlier we found the value of y and now we are going to find the value of theta. So the options will be very clear to you. If you see the options in terms of degree, that means don't do the approximation. Stick to the general formula before approximation. Okay. So here we are going to find the angle. At what angle? Okay. So again the same logic. To find the location of zero order maxima, what will I do? Since I am dealing with maxima, zero order maxima, so I will start with this. So what will I do? I will write d sine theta minus t into mu minus 1 is equal to 0. I will put this equation as 0. Okay? That means n is equal to 0. And then that will give you the value of sine theta. Sine theta will be equal to t mu minus 1 divided by d. And then you can see you can match the options that this is what is happening. And then if they ask you which order maxima, that remains same. So if they ask you who is at the center, so at the center means what is the value of theta at the center? The value of theta at the center is 0. That means who is at the center means the value of theta is equal to 0. So you can start with the bright. If you are lucky, you will get the answer right away here only, or else you have to go for minima. So in this case, this will become 0, and minus t into mu minus 1 equals to n lambda, and that is equal to n will be equal to minus of t into mu minus 1 divided by lambda. Okay. What does it mean when you get the? I'm not going to discuss now. Just take a note of this, and then I'm going to discuss what do you mean by negative order fringe coming at the center. I'll discuss that part. So just take a note of this. What if y not very less than x? Just take a note of this. Okay, moving ahead. So I am just going to discuss now what do you mean when a negative order occupies the screen. Now for that, let us consider the YDSE pattern over here. YDSE pattern. In YD, not modified YD, just the YDSE. In YDSE, this is my 0, then comes my 1, then comes my 2. Similarly, this is my minus 1 order, this one is my minus 2 order, and so on. Okay. So let us say what happens in this case with the question which I am discussing. We saw that the negative order fringe comes at the center. Okay. So what does it mean? It means if a negative order comes at the screen, then in modified Young's double slit experiment, what has happened? The zero order has gone somewhere here, followed by the first order, then comes the second order, and then comes my minus 1, then comes my minus 2, then comes my minus 3, then comes my minus 4, and so on. And let us say that this is the center of the screen. That means the fringe pattern has shifted up. The fringe pattern has shifted up. Okay? So this was 0 earlier at the center, and now minus 2 is occupied. That means this much part or this much has shifted up. And that's the reason why now let us say -2 is occupying the screen. So this distance is called shift. This distance is called shift. Okay? And now I'm going to find the shift expression. How are you going to find the expression of shift? How much it is going to shift? Okay? So the next heading which I'm going to put forward is the concept of shift. And now I will start with the equation. D sine theta minus what is the expression? T into mu minus 1 is equal to n lambda. Correct? If 0 has gone up, so let us put n equal to 0. Okay, under the approximation. If y is very very less than d, then I can write this as d tan theta minus t into mu minus 1 is equal to n lambda. So for 0 order maxima you put n equal to 0. So what will you get? This will become y by capital D. This will become 0. This will now become 0. So you will put n equal to 0. So when you put n equal to 0, this becomes 0. Take this on that side. So that will be equal to t into mu minus 1. Okay? And so what is y? Y is equal to t into mu minus 1 multiplied by capital D divided by small d. So the y which you are finding is this. Am I right? Because you are locating the 0 order maxima. If you are locating a 0 order maxima, so my 0 order maxima has reached here. This is my y from the center of the screen. And that is nothing but exactly equal to the shift. So this is the expression of shift. This is the expression of shift. Okay? Is it clear? So now I'm going to generalize it, and now you will feel that slowly and slowly things are getting clear. Okay? Just take a note of this concept of shift. Please draw this diagram. Please draw this diagram so that you can understand the concept of shift. Please take a note. This one is YDSE, and this one is MYDSE. Now take a look. Okay, now let's discuss this question now. Theta, theta, theta. And if you draw a perpendicular over here, this distance is d sine theta. Always. Just write it as d sine theta. So I can see that ray 2 is traveling an additional path of d sine theta. What if I place a slab also in the path of 2? That means 2 will travel an additional path of t into mu minus 1. And remember, 2 was already traveling an additional path of d sine theta, and now I am putting a slab in that. So now I am asking 2 that, okay, geometrically you are traveling d sine theta. Now optically also you travel additional path. So overall, what is the path difference now in this case? Overall the path difference will be now equal to d sine theta plus t into mu minus 1 equals to n times of lambda for maximum and 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 for minimum. Correct? In this case, if I use the logic of where all those things again are applicable over here now. If I have to find where is my central maxima, so I will put the value of n equal to 0 and then I will find the value of sine theta. So let us say for central maxima, if I have to locate my central maxima, I will put the value of n as 0. So I will get d sine theta equals to minus of t into mu minus 1. Now I'm going to teach you a skill now. And then you will find sine theta is equal to minus t mu minus 1 divided by d. You first calculate this. See this value of how much it is. Is it 0.00 something? Is it very less? If it is very less, then only you take the approximation of sin theta as tan theta. Okay. So if I consider that theta is very less, then you can write this as tan theta. So sin theta will be equal to tan theta, and that is equal to y by capital D is equal to minus of t into mu minus 1 divided by small d, where this distance is capital D. And then you find the value of y is equal to minus t mu minus 1 divided by capital D into multiplied by capital D by small d. And now you can see that the value of y is negative. Value of y is negative means we are looking for central maxima, and central maxima has negative value. That means central maxima has gone down. That means the shift has gone downward this time. Okay. So when you put a slab in ray 1, the shift is upward. When you put the slab in the ray 2, the shift is downward. Okay. The shift is downward. Okay. Is this clear to you? And then if they ask you who is at the center of the screen, who is at the center of the screen means you have to put theta equal to 0. So for the value of n at theta equal to 0, you will write this one as d sin theta. I'll write the formula first. Mu minus 1 equals to n lambda, and then we'll write this as 0 plus t into mu minus 1 is equal to n times of lambda. So lambda will be equal to, n will be equal to, this time you are finding positive value, see, because shift is downward, so the positive order fringes will come and occupy the center of the screen, and divided by lambda. This will give you the order of the fringe which will occupy the center of the screen. Remember, if this is not integer, you have to change the condition, and you have to go for minima. Okay. Please take a note. Now I will just discuss two more questions, and I will teach you. I will just end up by writing the equations, because the rest of the things you know. So when you find the value of y, when you put the value of n equal to 0, remember the concept of shift. If you have to find the concept of shift, put n equal to 0, and find y. That is nothing but equal to shift. That is the condition of finding the shift. Now consider this question now. Ray 1, ray 2, this will be right away d sin theta, okay? And let us say that I have placed a source over here. I am not placing the source symmetrically, I am placing the source off center asymmetrically. So from the source, let us say this travels a path before the slit as L1 and L2. Okay? Now how are you going to write the net path difference by the time it reaches the screen? Okay? To do that, consider this. Before the slit, and this is after the slit. Who is traveling more distance before the slit? Ray 2. By how much distance? L2 minus L1. After the slit, who is traveling more distance? Ray 2. How much? This is for ray 2. So before the slit, ray 2 is traveling additional distance. After the slit, ray 2 is traveling additional distance of how much? D sin theta. And now suppose that I am placing a slab here in the path of ray 1. So ray 1 will travel additional distance. So ray 1 will travel additional distance of how much? T into mu minus 1. So what is the overall path difference? Overall path difference is L2 minus L1 plus d sin theta. This is the additional path traveled by ray 2 minus t into mu minus 1. That is the additional path traveled by ray 1, and that should be equal to n lambda for bright and 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 for dark. Okay. So I'll just leave it here. L2 minus L1 plus d sin theta minus t into mu minus 1 is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by this is for theta. And same thing, if they ask you to find locate zero order maxima, then you put n equal to 0 and you find the value of theta. And if theta is very very small, you can write sin theta as tan theta is perpendicular by base, perpendicular is y, base is t. Okay, this is y and this is your t. And if they ask you who is at the center, so you will put the value of theta as 0 and then you will find the value of n. If the n is negative, shift is upward. If the n is positive, shift is downward. Take a note of this. And one more question. Sometimes they will give you the ray traveling like this, parallel incident ray like this. So in those cases, you have to draw a perpendicular, and they will give you the angle here. Let us say alpha as alpha. Okay. So you can see here, this is my ray 1 and this is my ray 2. So the waves are going like this. So perpendicular to this line is this, and perpendicular to this one is this. So this angle will be also alpha, and right away you can say that this is d sine alpha. And then let us say after the slit, let us say that this travels a distance. Let us say this travels a distance, and this also travels a distance. This is ray 1, this is ray 2. Then you will draw a perpendicular over here, and you will write this as d sine theta. Correct? Now just look at here. Before the slit, who is traveling more distance? Ray 1. After the slit, who is traveling more distance? Ray 2. Correct? So overall path difference will be equal to ray 2 is traveling a distance of d sine theta, and ray 1 is traveling a distance of d sine alpha. Correct? So overall path difference is ray 2 minus ray 1. So you will write the question as, assuming that d sine theta is more, you can always assume that must be equal to n lambda for maxima, and d sine theta minus d sine alpha will be equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2. Okay, and then the condition follows. Who is at the center of the screen? Put theta equal to 0 and find the value of n. Where is the central maxima? Where is the zero order maxima? Put n equal to 0 and find the value of theta. Okay, so this is the whole logic where we have to understand this. So with this I end my lecture. It will take some time for you to understand. Make a good note of it and then revise the note again and again. Then only you can understand this. Obviously the video is there to help you out. Okay. Thank you for watching.